Alex Jones is back on trial. Yes, again, facing off against the parents of a victim from the Sandy Hook school shooting over Jones having said the massacre was staged. And once again, Jones has succeeded in turning the courtroom upside down. Now, we covered Jones's first trial in Texas last month, which resulted in a jury awarding nearly $50 million to the parents of a 6-year-old killed in the shooting, who Jones had said helped stage a fake massacre. The InfoWars host was scolded multiple times by the judge for going off topic while on the stand and even for, at times, not telling the truth. This second trial got underway in Connecticut yesterday. The plaintiffs in this case are 8 Sandy Hook families and an FBI agent suing Jones for, among other things, defamation, infliction of emotional distress, invasion of privacy. The first witness in the trial featured FBI agent William Aldenberg, who was asked to recall the events of that day.
Was what you saw in that school fake?
No. No, sir.
Was it synthetic?
No, sir. No, sir.
See any actors that day, Bill?
No.
Those children real?
It's awful. It's awful.
Now, Jones has already lost the case through what's called a default judgment because he basically refused to comply with obligations in the litigation, discovery. So now the jury will just be determining how much Jones owes in damages based in part on revenue he brought in while spouting this conspiracy. Things got heated after Jones's attorney refused to turn over documents regarding Jones's profit, which Judge Barbara Bellis called out.
This stunningly cavalier attitude with respect to their discovery obligations is what led to the default in the first place. The defendants have consistently engaged in dilatory and obstructive discovery practices from the inception of these cases right through to the trial.
And then, more bad news for Jones with the judge.
And the court hereby sanctions the defendants by precluding them from presenting evidence or argument that they did not profit from the Sandy Hook coverage.
And it would seem the profits were big. The plaintiff's lawyer opened by detailing just how much money Jones was bringing in per day when he was spouting off about the shooting being staged.
On September 24th, the day he publishes it, he brings in $48,000 on that day. Look at the next day. $232,000 in a day, just on that one platform. Then it drops off a little the next day, September 26th, $128,000. Then it drops off again. What you're seeing there is the relationship between the lie, the audience, and the money he's raking.
The plaintiff's lawyer later shared a private text from Jones that revealed just how lucrative his business had become.
You're going to see this text message. This is what I was telling you about. Jones wakes up just wondering how $ we are. We ended up about $810,000 yesterday. One day.
$810,000 in a day. Next came Jones's defense attorney, Norm Pattis, who took a unique approach to his defense.
To decide for you, or to ask you to decide for the millions of fools, the millions of deplorables, the millions of MAGA Republicans, what people can and can't watch in this country, because they've transformed the hearing and damages. They've transformed money into a political weapon in this trial. And we're going to ask you to disarm them now.
Wait, how did claiming that a school shooting was staged become about MAGA Republicans and deplorables? And again, he's already lost this case. It's just about damages. Joining me now is Jesse Weber from the Law and Crime Network, which I founded. Jesse, good to see you.
Good to see you.
So the judge has already sanctioned Alex Jones, and if you take this case seriously, it's actually a big deal.
It is a very big deal. I would say he's not even at the right racetrack. He's behind the 8 ball. He's behind the starting line. The argument we just heard from Norm Pattis, I can't say I'm surprised because there's nothing they can argue. The judge took away one of their last defenses, and their last defense was you saying that they didn't profit off of the Sandy Hook coverage. Well, he can't argue that. He can't argue that he didn't intend for this to happen. He can't argue that he's innocent. The only argument that they might be able to muster is that the plaintiffs didn't suffer as much harm as they claim. But what we're seeing so far in the middle of this trial, these are parents, this is an FBI agent who was harassed, threatened, targeted by the millions of Jones supporters. This feels like, and I can't believe I'm saying this, a worse case for Alex Jones than what we even saw in Texas.
Let me play a piece of sound from that case where Alex Jones was going at it with the judge. This is number 2.
Spit your gum out, Mr. Jones.
It's not gum.
Well, what is it? Because you're not allowed food or gum of any kind in the courtroom.
I had my tooth pulled a week and a half ago, and I had some gauze in there earlier, and it's been causing me to have some pain.
So you're chewing on your gauze?
Would you like me to show you?
No, I
Right
just
here?
want you to answer my question.
No, I was massaging the hole in my mouth with my tongue. I'm sitting right here. Here.
I don't want to see
All right.
the inside of your mouth.
Oh no, there's no gum. Hole.
Sit down.
He was massaging the hole in his mouth with his tongue.
You never heard that defense?
And by the way, that will never, I can never erase that from my memory now, that image.
Neither can we, unfortunately.
Is he going to testify in this case too?
He is going to testify, which I say to myself, why do that? Like I just said,
Right.
he has no defense. Here's what I think.
Why
Mike.
is he going to testify? Why not just throw in the towel the way he's throwing in the towel on the guilt phase?
Because I don't think he's
Responsibility.
testifying so much for the jury as all of his supporters. Remember, he just got almost a $50 million judgment assessed against him. I imagine a big damages award here. I think he's trying to speak to his supporters and saying he's a victim, he's a scapegoat, trying to get more donations in. And so he's speaking to the world at large and not so much the jury.
$50 million in the last case. Let's say he gets another big judgment. Does he have this kind of money?
So funny you should say it. So he put his companies in bankruptcy, but he didn't personally declare bankruptcy. And if you listen to the stats, this is a guy who's worth multi-millions. And, you know, there was this allegation that he siphoned off about $60 million from his company a few years ago. Today, there was really interesting testimony about, was he being honest with his supporters about where the donations were going to, or was he pocketing himself? These are questions that he's going to have to answer if he takes the stand.
All right, we shall see. Jesse Weber, thank you. Appreciate it.
You.
That does it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. Ashley Banfield. And Banfield starts right now. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your cable provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.